Hi everybody, here on the Hilltop Homestead I put in a whole house water filter. I got these from pureearth.com out of Marietta, Georgia, and I put together a little video of how I put it together. So come explore and learn with me today on the Hilltop Homestead. Here's my funnel, my filler funnel. Here's my main whole house carbon filter. I got my fluoride filter over here. It arrives empty, and the components you'll have to add in separately. First is the carbon, which you'll pour in loosely. You'll want to keep the funnel for when you do media changes. It will also be useful for changing the media on the fluoride filter, which you will change more often than the whole house filter. These are rated for about 700,000 gallons, and these are rated for about 100,000 gallons. Roughly in terms of time, this could be 7 to 14 years depending on your water usage. We use about 50,000 gallons a year, so this one will probably last us quite a bit with the recommended backwashing interval, which is about once a week or once every 10 days or so, depending on your usage. Up next is going to be installation of the KDF media guard. This is going to get mounted onto your control head for the backwashing unit. Okay, so I have here some silicone faucet grease, which is just some waterproof grease. I'm going to put some of this on the riser tube on the inside here. Maybe that'll help it slide down a little more. Do a test fit before I put the whole thing on there. There we go, I kind of like that. A little bit extra. You have an O-ring in here and a big O-ring. Big O-ring sits on the tank. This is for your riser tube, and there's an O-ring on here that fits down. Okay. Ta-da! Got that on. Here's the bypass manifold. Little looby-doob-doob there. Okay, I move this over. This is the sealing. This is the manifold for the fluoride tank, fluoride filter. Again, it's got a pre-lubricated O-ring at the top. And removing the safety cap on the riser tube. It's in there pretty good. This tank is an add-on tank designed to work after a whole house filter. They have tanks that have the granular activated carbon and this all in one. But the lifespan of those is still about 100,000 gallons. But if you're on a budget and that's what you can afford for clean water to start off with, I say go for it. There we go. Hand tight only, as these are O-rings. You don't need to over torque them. And now I'm going to get my plumbing flow set up. This is where the big blue pre-filter, sediment pre-filter is going to be. I still have to do some work on the wall so I can support this before I do the final assembly. And then I'll connect from here to this tank. I've got an outlet here and we'll run down to this small tank, and then I will run up to my output. And I'll put some gauges in there along the way. Okay folks, here we are in the basement. I've got the whole house carbon filter set up and the fluoride filter. And this kit came with a pre-filter also. I've got my differential pressure gauges set up, about 50 psi when the water's not flowing. And if I need to change the filter, I'll start to see a difference in pressure when the water's flowing. And I've got my system isolation valves. I got one here, one over here, and my bypass valve that I can set up and do any maintenance I need to on the system as a whole. And the backwashing system set up here. I've got the line hooked up to a drain pipe that exits out the basement. I have the whole house fluoride filter down over here, and then I actually have a low point drain, because at any point you need to service your filters, wherever the standing water is, once you isolate everything, you got to depressurize, which you could do with the backflow, or manually doing a backflow, but you'll still have water in these lines, and so a low point drain comes in real handy to really help drain that out. These backwashing filters are rated for several years depending on the quality of your water and everything. I think this one says about 7 years or so, based on 100,000 gallons a year or something. The small fluoride filter is not a backwashing filter, it's just a standard filter with media in it, and that one is good for every year, 1 to 2 years. So this one will be changed more often, and I went with the PEX connectors because I can just unthread those 2 connectors and open up the top and move that little canister out of the way when I need to. And then I've got again, I got my first filter, or my first gauge, and then I can monitor the pressure for the whole system, whatever my pressure loss is with this second gauge. There is a power outlet in the back over here. You want to have a GFCI arc fault protected outlet, since you are running next to water, and I just happen to have one there from when the house was built, and that'll run the backwashing valve here. And but if you lose power, they still have little coin cell batteries in these that will help remember the time, and then when the power comes back on, it'll use that for all the main stuff. That's about it.